Hello and welcome to our deep dive into artificial intelligence. Today we're really zeroing in on something specific.
Right, not just the broad strokes of AI.
Exactly. We're looking at how AI is, well, dramatically changing the cybersecurity landscape.
It really is.
And we've got some pretty concerning new information, specifically about something called Xanthorox AI. Seeing it mentioned in a few recent articles.
Yes, Xanthorox, it's definitely causing a stir.
So our mission today is to kind of unpack what Xanthorox AI is, why it feels like such a big step up in cyber threats, and, what it means for defending against this stuff.
Exactly. And from what we're seeing, Xanthorox isn't just like a small update on existing malware. It feels more fundamental.
A fundamental shift.
Yeah, like a new kind of offensive AI.
Yeah.
More autonomous, more adaptive than what we've really dealt with before.
Okay, Xanthorox AI. Let's get into it. What is it? What makes it stand out?
So basically, it's an AI system, self-contained, built purely for offensive cyber ops. Popped up late Q1 2025, apparently.
On the regular internet.
No. That's part of the point. Found on darknet forums, encrypted channels, the usual shadowy corners.
Right. And you mentioned self-contained. What's significant about its structure?
That's maybe the most crucial part. Unlike a lot of AI tools, security ones included, that lean on public APIs or cloud services.
Which makes them traceable to some extent?
Precisely. Xanthorox is reportedly built and run entirely on private servers, completely off-grid.
So much harder to spot, much harder to track down.
Way harder. Increases stealth. Reduces traceability. It's like it's designed to be a ghost.
That is. Yeah, that's a bit chilling. And the articles talk about a modular design. What does that mean in practice?
Modularity points to a really sophisticated architecture. It suggests it's built to handle large-scale attacks and, maybe more importantly, highly adaptive ones.
Adaptive, like it can change tactics on the fly.
Kind of. Think of it like a platform where you can plug in different specialized tools or modules as needed for a specific job.
So it's not just one kind of threat. What sort of things can it actually do? This full spectrum hacking toolkit idea.
Yeah, the reported capabilities are pretty extensive. It seems it can generate its own malicious code, malware.
Tailored to the target.
Tailored to specific targets, yes. It can analyze images, files, pull out useful data, and get this real-time voice interaction.
Voice interaction. For social engineering.
Exactly. Imagine AI-driven phishing calls. That takes manipulation to a whole different level.
Wow. Okay, so what's under the hood driving all this? I saw mentions of specialized language models.
Correct.
Yeah.
Reports say there are 5 distinct models inside Xanthorox. Each one is sort of optimized for a different piece of the attack puzzle.
Like what?
Well, first, there's Xanthorox Coder. Think scripting, finding vulnerabilities, developing exploits, even writing new malware.
An AI that writes its own malware? That feels like a serious jump.
It really is. Then you got Xanthorox Vision. That's for visual intelligence. Meaning it can interpret screenshots, analyze images, figure out what it's seeing on a compromised machine or in stolen files. Crucial for intel gathering.
Okay, coding, vision. What else?
Another big one is Reasoner Advanced. This one's designed to mimic human-like logic and reasoning.
Uh-oh. For the social engineering side again?
That's the major concern, yeah. It could make phishing attempts or other manipulation tactics incredibly convincing, very adaptive, much harder to spot than the usual clumsy attempts.
This is painting a pretty bleak picture. I saw Chris Bondi, the CEO of Mimoto, quoted, her take seemed quite serious.
It was stark, yeah. She basically said Xanthorox represents, and I'm paraphrasing slightly, kind of the peak of where offensive AI has reached right now.
And she worried it would hypercharge attackers.
Exactly. Her words were, it could hypercharge bad actors' ability to innovate their attacks, basically making attacks faster, more creative, potentially more damaging.
She also made a really interesting point about success rates, didn't she? Even if it's not perfect initially.
Yes, that's critical. Bondi pointed out that even if Xanthorox only succeeds, say, 10% of the time at first.
Which doesn't sound that high, maybe.
Right, but for the attacker, that 10% success is pure gold. It's data. The AI learns what worked, what didn't, and refines its approach. It gets better.
Ah, I see. But for the defender?
For the defender, only catching 10% of these attacks. That's catastrophic. That asymmetry is a killer. Attackers learn from failures, defenders.
Yeah.
Well, they can't afford many failures at all.
That really does change the game. And because it learns and evolves, our old methods of looking for known attack patterns become less useful over time.
Precisely. Bondi's point is that defenses relying just on historical data, signatures, known bad stuff, They'll struggle against an AI that's constantly changing its tactics. Static defenses versus a dynamic AI. Not a fair fight.
Okay, so this brings in another perspective I saw from Casey Ellis at BugCrowd. He had a different way of looking at the whole cybercrime world.
Yeah, Ellis suggests we should think about the cybercriminal ecosystem almost like, well, like any other service industry, like a platform business.
A business, really.
In terms of structure and strategy, yes. He argues that Xanthorox shows real strategic depth, serious R&D, not just some script kiddie tool. He called it the most effective approach to building a flexible AI-powered attack platform.
So it's like they're building malicious enterprise software almost.
That's the unsettling implication, yes. And platforms like this tip the balance. They favor agile, automated threats and put enormous pressure on defenders to adapt, and fast.
Which leads directly to the security providers, right? The MSSPs, the MSPs. This must be keeping them up at night.
Absolutely. This kind of thing is a massive wake-up call for them. Daniel Kelly from SlashNext described it as the next evolution in black hat AI.
And he highlighted the structure again, the private servers.
Yes, emphasizing that self-contained, multi-model setup on private infrastructure makes it so much harder to detect using conventional methods.
And it's not just one threat vector they have to worry about.
Exactly. Kelly reiterated the range. Malicious code generation, finding and using exploits, data theft, crafting really believable phishing messages. It's the whole package.
So security teams, MSSPs, they need to up their AI game, not just for defense, but to even understand these attacks.
Urgently. They need AI capabilities on both sides of the equation. Casey Ellis put it quite directly.
What did he say?
He said, MSSPs and MSPs need to embrace AI as both a tool and a threat. They have to use AI to improve their own services, but also get really smart about defending against AI-driven attacks.
He sees them as force multipliers.
Yeah, especially for smaller businesses that just don't have the in-house expertise. But it's a huge challenge, given how comprehensive and adaptive things like Xanthorox seem to be.
It really drives home that dual nature of AI and security. It's a weapon, but it's also becoming an essential shield.
Totally. And the articles are pretty clear, the tech behind Xanthorox. Modular systems, offline operation, multiple AI models working together. This isn't science fiction.
It's doable now.
It's plausible with current AI capabilities, which strongly suggests Xanthorox probably is a one-off. We should expect more like it.
Jay Stevenkowski, also from SlashNext, seemed to agree, especially about the role of MSSPs.
Yeah, Kotowski sees MSSPs becoming even more crucial in fighting these threats. He stressed they need deeper expertise and better tools to defend everywhere. Endpoints, networks, cloud, the whole lot.
Okay, so what should these providers actually do? What are the concrete steps?
Well, the sources suggest several things. First, invest in advanced security tools, ones that use AI and ML themselves to spot these complex attacks.
Makes sense. Fight fire with fire.
Sort of, yeah. Also, train their teams specifically on AI risks, understanding adversarial AI, how attackers might try to fool defensive AI, how AI can be used for data theft, things like that.
And expand services.
Definitely. Things like real-time threat hunting, automated response capabilities, those become even more critical when attacks move at AI speed.
Kosowski mentioned the human element too, right? It's not just about the tech.
Absolutely critical.
Yeah.
He talked about combining skilled people with scalable tech. You need the human experts to guide the AI, interpret its findings, make the tough calls. It's a partnership.
Casey Ellis had some more specific advice too, didn't he? For MSSPs looking forward.
He did. He suggested hiring AI specialists, really building that internal knowledge base.
Proactively developing new services too.
Yes, things like adversarial testing of AI models, security audits for AI systems, monitoring specifically for AI-driven attacks. And he urged them to get involved with industry groups, help shape standards for AI security.
Collaboration seems key here.
Definitely. Alice mentioned partnering with AI vendors, security researchers share intel, get early warnings, and push for more transparency and accountability around how AI is deployed generally. That helps everyone.
There was also a point from Rob Enderle from the Enderle Group about quality and ethics.
Right. Enderle made the point that MSSPs really need to vouch for the quality of the AI security tools they offer.
Vetting the vendors.
Vetting them rigorously. Not just asking, does it work?
Yeah.
But is it reliable? Is it built ethically? He sees MSSPs as potentially being trusted advisors here.
Helping clients choose wisely in a confusing market.
Exactly. He thinks quality is a big issue for AI providers and buyers right now.
Yeah.
So MSSPs can add real value by guiding clients towards trustworthy, high-quality AI solutions.
Okay, and finally, Chris Bondi came back to the issue of speed.
Yeah, her point was that with AI driving attacks so fast, the traditional approach of cleaning up after a breach, doing detailed forensics, it's still needed, but it can't be the main strategy.
Why not?
Because by the time you figured out the last attack, the AI might have already launched the next one using different tactics. The speed just overwhelms that reactive model.
So the focus has to shift towards real-time detection, automated response.
Precisely. Bondi stressed the need for adaptive security that can spot and react to these threats as they happen, and using defensive AI to better understand alerts, get context quickly that becomes vital.
Wow. Okay, this has been quite a deep dive into Xanthorox AI and what it signals. It definitely feels like a new chapter in cybersecurity.
It really does. The arrival of platforms like Xanthorox, assuming the reports are accurate, it marks a significant shift. It forces a more proactive, adaptive, AI-savvy approach to defense. And it highlights just how critical those security providers are becoming.
And it really hammers home that dual-edged nature of AI we talked about. Huge threat, but also potentially our best defense.
Exactly. Which brings us to the end and maybe leaves you, our listeners, with something to think about.
A final provocative thought.
Yeah. As AI keeps evolving, how will it reshape this constant battle between attackers and defenders? What new skills, what new technologies, what new ways of thinking are going to be absolutely essential to stay secure in the years to come?
Crucial questions indeed. Something for all of us to chew on. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. We hope it was insightful. We'll catch you next time.